Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. And of course, one of the great stories of all times in this industry of media is the rise of Newsmax. And we are honored here at the theDove television network to carry Newsmax on .2 on our television network. And I have great regard for their leader, Chris Ruddy, who has been really working hard and then recently has really made news with the launch of their IPO or going public. So I'm honored to have with us today the president and CEO of Newsmax. Chris Ruddy's with us. Newsmax.com is the website. Hey, buddy, good to see you. How are you, man?
Perry, great to be on with you. Always fun. I think I'm going to take the title elder. It sounds pretty good. I'm getting old and gray hair. I heard that last segment.
That's okay. Well, you and I are elders in this industry, I think, for sure.
We're certainly getting elderly from all the news that we're hearing all day long, but we're keeping our positive mental attitude and being young about it.
Yeah. Listen, I say this not to pleasurize you in any way, seriously. Been praying for you through a lot of things, but the rise of your company has been amazing. And then when you decided to go public, God protect them and help them. And you launched. It was an amazing launch. Tell us about it.
Well, you know, Newsmax started in 1998, but we went into television in 2014. And last year, I mentioned you were one of the leaders here in the beginning, where I went on and said, we're going to go public and we're going to go and raise $300 million. Which we did. We raised last year into this year $300 million. We went public with an IPO on the New York Stock Exchange on March 31st, and it got international headlines. It was considered one of the big IPOs. All the stocks are down. Companies aren't going IPO. We went up hugely because there was so much demand for our stock. It's way up. It's over 100%. It's trading on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol NMAX. And it's doing really well. And, you know, I think we have even the Financial Times, which is very respected in England. It took an English-British paper to do it, but they said we had a great business model. We have a very bright future. They really like what we're doing. And they read all our materials, which we have up on newsmaxinvest.com. And they thought that we're great. So it's a good acclamation for us, and we're excited about the future.
How difficult was that decision, Chris, to do that? Because that's a big step.
Yeah, you know, most companies these days try to avoid going public. I felt, you know, we're so close to overtaking CNN. We've risen so strongly. And it's not because of anything I'm doing or what we're doing. It's the American people are really supporting us. And we've gotten tremendous gains. You know, this first quarter of this year, we had 34 million people tune in to Newsmax. That's just the cable channel. So it's even more with the streaming and others. And we're up 50%. You've been, Perry, in media for a long time. You know that you don't have a 12 million increase in people watching overnight like that in 1 year. Right. It's a movement. It's a revolution. I call it a news revolution. And people are joining with us as the business is growing. I mean, our revenues were up over 300% over the past several years. That's a very big, big jump. And so God is blessing us, and I hope he will bless the United States through our work. And I'm continuing that battle here every day where, you know, it's a struggle going against the big principalities of the media.
To that point, Chris, during the political era of Donald J. Trump, all news has come under the microscope. He used the term fake news, and it's hit. I mean, it's really had an impact. Whoever thought we'd be going to political rallies and seeing the news media booed? But in the middle of that, God's put his finger on Newsmax and went the other way. How do you balance that? How do you explain that?
Well, I don't know God's mysterious ways. I do feel his power has been involved because I can't explain our rise without it, but I'm very thankful. I'm also thankful to the American people because I think they really are voting with their remote controls and their apps and their downloads for Newsmax, which is great. President Trump, you know, there's a big historical sort of coincidence. I started Newsmax down in West Palm Beach in 1998. I wasn't here a few months, and I met Donald Trump. I had actually met him a few years before, but I got to know him very quickly. We are friends. I've known him for almost 30 years. Amazing guy, and I think has done a good job as president, and amazing job, in some ways historical, off the charts. The media hates him. They hate him as much as they hate all of us. And the Media Research Center study in the last election showed that 90% of the press coverage of the media was negative to Donald Trump. 80% of the major press coverage was positive to Kamala Harris. These are people that are not, balanced. They're not neutral. This is a pretense. It's more than a pretense. The major media is a joke. And Newsmax is coming in and saying, you know what, we believe in old-fashioned journalism. We give both sides. We reach out for critics of President Trump. And he's fine with that because you know what? He wins as long as he has both sides. And we're going to continue giving both sides. And I think we're going to continue to grow. And it's just been a great journey. And we're quite happy that we did go public.
So how do you explain the fact that he still wins at 90% negativity?
Yeah, think about this. All the media is against him, which is like them spending $5 billion. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris, I think, spent $2 billion to defeat him that we know of, maybe some more that we don't know of. And yet he still won, one arm tied behind his back under lawsuits. So I think it's supernatural, but he won the popular vote by a big number. He won the Electoral College by a landslide. He won every swing state. So, I have a saying that the truth is more powerful than a lie. And I truly believe that. I don't know how more powerful. I don't know if there's ever study on it, but I always feel like if you say something true, it has maybe, 4 times the power of a lie. The truth actually has an advantage, but you need to able to tell the truth somewhere, someplace. And what the left has been trying to systematically do is close down conservative viewpoints on social media. They closed Trump down, and even Fox tried to close President Trump down. They wouldn't let him on for a long period. They wouldn't let his family members on. He was frozen out. But Newsmax was there, and we told his story. We covered his rallies, and we're going to continue doing that coverage. So it's a battle, but we're doing it.
So let me go down the editorial road just for a moment. How do you and your team determine what gets on the air? And are we covering what people want to hear?
Well, there's no real science to it. It's an art. We look at stories, and we look at stories that are big in the news that the public needs to hear the other side. Obviously, the deportation issue is a very big issue. So we're covering that moment by moment. But there's a lot of stories we think are important that we'll cover. Pope Francis, the wokeness of the Catholic Church was something we've been covering for a while. He's been a very radical leftist pope, and we call it for what it is. And so, that's that you're not going to find that even maybe on Fox. And so we'll cover stuff. The trans agenda, Fox embraced the trans agenda. Fox said it was a good thing. And they had shows where they were promoting people that had changed their identity at the age of 5 or 6. And Newsmax called them out on it. But, we believe in traditional values and science. The science is that there are only 2 genders.
Yeah. Okay, the other thing is, I'm sure you, like me, you watch ratings. I study it hard. You probably do too. And what's interesting to me, you continue to grow Newsmax. Fox seems to be still fairly large. But the other ones, the MSNBCs, the CBSs, the ABCs, and CNN continue to go down. I guess the first question is somewhat rhetorical, but why do you think they're going down and conservative continues to be good?
Well, we see it in the Gallup study on trust in the media, which shows that support of the media is at an all-time record low, and that and that it's coming from the conservative and independent voters in America. Liberal voters still trust the media, and they have good reason to, right? It's their propaganda. But the independents and the Republicans just completely flatlining in support of trusting media. And they're turning to sources, but there aren't a lot of them, right? There aren't a lot of ABC, CBSs. There's Newsmax, there's Fox, leans that way. There's shows like yours, Perry, but you really have to dig to find them. They're not easily available. And so I think that's the reason they're declining, because people don't trust them anymore. They're being lied. I have a saying now: they lied and they died. They lied and died, and that's what's happening with the media.
What do you think are some of the challenges ahead for us conservative media people?
Well, I think that big tech poses the biggest problem. They don't like us. They don't believe in free speech. They have these sovereign immunity clauses that they got from Congress in the 90s, and allows them basically to do anything they want without being sued. And they're blocking conservatives, the Googles, the Facebooks. The Twitter used to be among the worst. Now Elon Musk has improved that. I don't think he's completely fixed it. But you go through, I mean, they're not the gatekeepers, the Googles, they're not the search engines, because they're the access points. You can have a wonderful blog or website, but if you're being blocked, people can't find you. And that's, it's pretty clear, like Google suppresses Newsmax in the search engine. And that hurts us. It hurts us on many levels, including our financials.
Right.
So we're battling this. It's constant struggle. But we are doing what we have to do, and with God's help, I think we'll succeed.
You may or may not remember, but we were booted off YouTube back at the beginning of COVID. It's not for anything that I said. It was things that people that I had on the air that said, and they thought it was, misinformation, disinformation. And when we got strike 3, they took from us 15,680 of our videos. And that was the case for 4 years. We lost those videos, and we were booted off. Out of the blue, about 8 months ago, I got a letter from them apologizing for doing that and giving us our 15,000 videos back. My head's still on tilt.
Yeah. They could confiscate your stuff or do whatever, and they're not suable, right? Because
Right.
of Section 230.
Right.
Which is a total mistake, and I want a level playing field. I get sued. You get sued if you say something that somebody doesn't like, and it's a cost of doing business, but they don't have that cost. They have immunity, like a sovereign state. If you take the 5 big tech companies, they're the 3rd biggest economy in the world in market cap. I mean, it's U.S., China, and big tech. I mean, they're beyond, and everybody's afraid, and frankly, the Republicans and the Democrats in Washington are both on there, support them.
Yeah. Do you think 230 will ever be overturned?
I think it could potentially be in the court, and it's really the Supreme Court, but in no good case has gone to them yet saying, hey, this should be overturned. And I think I don't think it's going to come from Congress. Unfortunately, they have too much influence in Washington.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right, let me take a quick break. So honored to have with us today Chris Ruddy. He's the CEO of Newsmax. By the way, Newsmax.com is the website, but NWMax is their IPO on the New York Stock Exchange, and they're doing great. A great investment. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And again, such an honor to have with us a little bit this morning. Chris Ruddy is the CEO of Newsmax. Of course, the website is newsmax.com. It's on cable. You can get their magazine, which really is excellent. And you can buy their stock, NWMax, on the New York Stock Exchange. They went public here in late March and doing very, very well. Chris, first of all, let me ask you this. With the influx of capital, what do you plan to do? How do you plan to expand?
Well, we have a lot of work to do. We were just chatting about that. Yeah. So just to reprise, Newsmax went public on the New York Stock Exchange. We are now trading. We just did that March 31st. Have had tremendous success. The stock price is significantly up in a down market, and a lot of what we're planning to do is listed on our webpage, newsmaxinvest.com. We have our SEC filings, and people should look at that before they ever make a purchase and read all our materials, Perry. But we detail that we have major areas. We still have our cable channel, which we are still growing in a declining market in cable. We have our new streaming channel, Newsmax 2, that's on all the major streaming platforms, Roku and Samsung and Vizio, and you can download it on your phone app, Newsmax, right now, and watch us anywhere in the world for free. And then we have Newsmax Plus, which is a plus service like Netflix. We're adding family-friendly films and movies. I'll give you an example. We aired last week on Easter Jesus of Nazareth, the Franco Zeffirelli film from the 1970s, considered among the best epic movies on the life of Jesus Christ. And we aired it on Easter weekend. It got tremendous reception. The big networks don't want to touch it anymore, but we love it. And it's on newsmaxplus.com now. And if you sign up for Newsmax Plus with you and your family, you can get these films and movies and documentaries that you're not getting anywhere else. So that's growing. So those three areas, and there's things like podcasting we want to do more of, and develop other types of things. So we're really excited about the future, and partnering with people like you and many others around the country.
Well, doing a great job. Let me ask you this: how are you now, a CEO? How are you looking at the economy?
Well, I think Donald Trump inherited an economy on the precipice of recession or worse, and it's been a difficult situation. He's held it pretty well, and generally, I think things are moving in the right direction. Here, I think he has a great economic plan. So remember, the plan is not tariffs. It's a small part. The tax cuts he still has to pass with Congress this year. Lower oil prices. They're down 20% since he came in. So that's going to continue going down. Deregulation. He's doing a lot of that. You'll feel that in the next year or two. And then he wants lower interest rates. And this Fed chief doesn't want them. So there's a little battle. It may take a year to get those. But the ingredients of Trump's plan are really good. And tariffs, I think, will have a good effect in the medium and long term. It takes a while. But he really has a good policy, because he's looking at this saying, why is Japan and Europe not buying our stuff, but we buy all of their cars and other stuff? And he's saying that's not right. So we got to get these countries to drop their tariffs. Mm-hmm. So we have to impose tariffs to stop them. That's what he's doing.
If you look back at some of the interviews that he did long before he ever considered the presidency, I mean, we're talking back to Phil Donahue shows and the Oprah Winfrey shows, he was complaining about how other countries were ripping us off. This has been on his mind at a very young age, and now he's president of the United States. He has something to do about it. It seems to me the American people didn't get it until he held up the chart and they saw it. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, and we show that chart of the countries and the tariff rates they charge versus us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basic 101 journalism. And they know they're getting ripped off. You know, I think most people, there haven't been any real income differentiation in 30, 40 years. I got out of university in the late 80s, and jobs then you would make to start $35,000 to $40,000. Right now, starting employment for a college graduate, a good school, is about $40,000, mm-hmm. 40, 30 years later. Meanwhile, there's been a lot of inflation. So somebody's lost out big time. And it's creating a lot of disequilibrium in society. Young people can't leave their family homes. There's not a lot of jobs for young people. All sorts of things that are very problematic, and Trump's trying to address those problems.
One other question, and again, thank you for your time, Chris. Did you ever think we'd see the day where these rogue district judges would interrupt the president's power through these injunctions? And do you think they will be overcome by the Supreme Court?
Well, I hope. So far, the Supreme Court hasn't been that good, so I'm hoping that they come around. But, the injunctions are they're lawfare. The president was hit with lawfare when he wasn't president. Now he's being hit as president. They're very sneaky and they're very politicized. The judiciary is supposed to not be about. He's trying to deport illegal aliens in the United States. See, the president's authority on that is pretty clear. And a lot of these guys are violent gang members. And the Democrats are working hard to try to keep them. I mean, just think about how bizarre that is.
So my question then would be, what do the Democrats expect to win by staying on something that is so obviously crazy?
They've been pursuing crazy policies, Perry, for a long time. Mm-hmm. And, they seem to, because they have the media behind them, they seem to have been able to accomplish a lot of things and get a lot of power. Maybe that'll change. I don't know. But they have crazy things. They have a lot of these identity politics, all of these little fringe groups that make up the Democratic Party. So in any event, we're fighting them. We're doing the best we can.
Chris, thanks for your time. I know you're busy. We do pray for you. Hopefully you have time to be alone with the Lord.
Well, I pray every day, but we need it. We need it. But I appreciate your prayers, the prayers of your viewers, Newsmax, and the prayers for our country and our president and our freedom. So that all of that is important.
All right. So check out NWMax. That's the code there for the IPO on the New York Stock Exchange. You can go to Newsmax.com. Of course, he has all the other ones, Newsmax Plus, Newsmax 2. And if you're not getting the Newsmax magazine, you may want to get a copy of that. All very, very good. Thank you, Chris. God bless you, pal. Stay in the fight.
Thank you, Perry. I really appreciate it. We appreciate your friendship and support.
All right, thank you.
God bless.